I am absolutely delighted to be here today with two really, really special guests that I'm going to introduce in a minute. Caroline Mansfield, who some of you might have seen already on my channel, and a new guest, Kim Kindersley, that you're going to meet for the first time today. And as those of you that sort of watch my channel regularly will probably know, that my whole channel is about providing natural solutions in an ever-changing world. And my ethos in life is very much that if we educate ourselves and are aware and keep an open mind to the challenges that we're being faced with in the modern world that we're living in, then we have the choice to come up and work with solutions. But if we don't know what these challenges are, we can't possibly know what are the most important solutions for us. And today, the topic for today is something that's really, really close to my heart, because 25 years ago, I was working for Nokia in the environmental department. So I've got a lot of background in this subject. And I think a lot of people, particularly my audience members, tend to be very, very well informed, are really well aware of the increased research, and they're very knowledgeable about the problems with man-made radiation and how it can affect ourselves, nature, our food and our water. So today we're going to have a really brilliant conversation, not only about, is this real? You know, we have a lot of scaremongering going on at the moment. So are these effects real? And is it something we really do need to be aware of it? But most importantly, what we can do about it. So thank you so much, you two, for joining me. Let's start with ladies first. Caroline, for those of you that haven't already seen you on my channel or many others, could you please just introduce yourself and also why this is a subject you're so passionate about?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me back on, Catherine. It's good to be back. For people who've seen me before, I'm a naturopath. I've been practicing for over 20 years, also a live blood microscopist. So I've been working with blood for a long time. And, you know, after this amount of time, you get to know patterns in blood and what's correct and what isn't, and just working, looking at the products that we're going to be discussing today, I was absolutely blown away by the effects that EMFs can have on our blood. I really was unaware, and how quickly they can affect us as well. But also today to offer solutions, because there are solutions, and I think it's we're entering a new phase in life. There's such an uptick with EMFs, of everything we're involved in now, and to be able to recognize that and just to find ways to protect ourselves is so important going forward into this new technological age that we're entering, really, or have entered, and we continue to progress down that road.
That's amazing. And just for people that, Caroline's been on my channel before, where she's shown some of her amazing work, and the work you're doing is really leading edge, Caroline. And I know that both Kim and myself are really grateful for it, because, this is that you really pull together the science and the spirituality side of things, because as I said, there's a lot of knowledge about what might be happening, but you put it together, and you're going to see a brilliant presentation from Caroline in a minute. But Kim, you're new to my channel, so it's been really, really great to meet you over the last few months. Can you just introduce yourself to my audience, and also why are you so passionate about this subject?
Well, that is a very, very big question, but essentially I come from a background of being a filmmaker, and I've always been fascinated by indigenous wisdom and our relationship with the natural world. And so that took me all over the planet. I was traveling a lot in my early 30s, and I made a movie called Whale Dreamers, produced by Julian Lennon. And for me, that was a time of great magic. I was meeting extraordinary beings, doing extraordinary things, and hearing stories of our past and our true origins. And, it was a very, very exciting and wonderful time. But I noticed as I was traveling, and this is particularly for this subject today, that I found it increasingly difficult to sleep in hotel rooms. And of course, I ended up finding out that I was what is known now as electrosensitive. And of course, it's got worse and worse, because it was first of all 3G, and then it was 4G, and now we're all talking about 5G. And So I needed to find a solution for myself. But I think that when it really crossed the line for me, because I'm just an ordinary person walking the earth, I'm open, but I don't pretend to be an expert, particularly in anything. I do teach breath work, and that's another healing modality that I'm fascinated in, because I feel that our entire species is traumatized and our history is traumatic. And I feel like we're at this sort of enormous crossroads where, everybody needs to heal. I was really shocked, actually, that the whole EMF thing, because I was thinking, is this just conspiracy? Is this really being, and as you said earlier, fear-mongering? And I found out that a professor from Columbia University, a scientist who'd been doing this research, made an appeal to the United Nations in 2015 about this. And then the rise of cancers and childhood cancers, and actually there are now tens of thousands of scientists who've signed on to this fact all over the world. Verizon are preparing for class action lawsuits. We know dear old Apple even give you a warning. And now I just heard, I don't know whether you heard this, Caroline, in Australia, Telstra are the first carrier company. And you know how annoying it is when you get unsolicited texts. They're sending texts to their customers to remind them to keep the phones away from their bodies.
Wow.
And yeah, I know. This is an extraordinary thing. And then everywhere we go, we see a family out, like the other night, kids, smartwatch.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the kind of, I'm a storyteller, I'm a healer, or I should put that another way. I like to help people in their own healing journey, is a better way of putting it. And then I met Wesley while I was looking at all sorts of different technologies, and I've used other ones, but I was really, really impressed with what they brought together. And I know the origins of the company go back a long time. And then actually, I saw a lot of the science, but then I met Caroline recently too, and I was blown away by her presentation with the live blood, because it's just, there it is in front of your eyes. And I've had that test done before with other things and have seen results fairly similar, but I think that it's when you actually see the effect that this is having on our cellular structures and our blood, and then the fact that there is something that can put it back to normal and really help. That's why I'm here. I'm an excited, passionate person, and I believe that every family on this planet should know. I'm at a healing center in Sri Lanka at the moment doing breath work with some fabulous people, really bright people, yoga teachers and people in all sorts of different modalities. And most of them do not know that EMFs are dangerous, and bad for their children, etc., etc. So the mission is becoming more and more education, because I believe that people deserve to have the right to know, and then can make an informed decision of their own.
I love it. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going through an amazing presentation that Caroline's put together from her work on this area, and it really is worth sitting through first, and then we'll discuss some of the solutions afterwards. So over to you, Caroline.
Okay.
She's now going to share her presentation and talk us through her amazing findings.
Okay, wonderful. So let me just share the screen with you now. Can you see that okay?
It's just loading up. Yes, now we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So, yeah, let's get on with it. The thing with blood is that the blood doesn't lie, and seeing is believing. So when we're testing with the blood, we get a picture immediately whether something's affecting our body or not at cellular level. So what I did was I put the photonic cards to the test to see how they help to protect our bodies against certain devices. And I tested against 5 different devices, which was the smartphone, the smart pad, the router, the smartwatch, and also AirPods, which everybody's wearing, you know, in their ears. Some people wear them all day long. I know, you know, friends and colleagues that do that. And, you know, when we're looking at the photonic cards, we're looking to see how they're protecting our body from the EMFs that these devices, you know, give off. And the way that we're able to test this is through dark field microscopy, because what we do is we take a pinprick of blood from a test subject. Before we have a room orientation phase where the client will be sitting for an hour, not affected by any EMFs at all. And then we would do a pinprick of blood, peripheral blood sample, and would look at that client's blood. Then we'd have the client go onto a device for 20 minutes, and then we would look at the blood again after being on that device for 20 minutes, the second pinprick of blood. And then the third stage would be the client would go back onto that device, but have either one of the photonic cards in their pocket or on the device. And then we would look at the blood again with the third pinprick of peripheral blood sample and see how their blood is after that point. So let me just show you the very first test we did. This was with an iPhone or a smartphone. And this was the test subject's blood after 20 minutes of after the room orientation phase. So when we're looking at red blood cells, we want them to be lovely and round and roughly the same shape and size. We don't want them to be attracted to each other so they can flow around the body and deliver their oxygen and nutrients and take away waste products. And probably people have heard me say this many times. And this is what keeps our body healthy, you know, at cellular level. It doesn't matter how many nutrients you put into your body. If your blood isn't flowing to deliver these nutrients and oxygen and take away waste products, then we're going to have a problem. So this was a test subject's blood, various places on the slide. And you can see very healthy blood. And then we asked the test subject to go on her phone just for 20 minutes. And I asked her to put the phone up to her head so we get a good contact with the phone, with the body. And after 20 minutes, this was her blood. And, you know, you can see immediately the changes from the initial blood sample. And we can see now that the blood is actually sticking together. What these EMFs have done is they've changed what we call the zeta potential in the blood. The blood is a colloidal solution, and there should be specific charges on the outside of the red blood cell, like a negative charge, so they don't stick together, and that's been affected, the zeta potential. But not only that, with some of these images, you can see that the red blood cells have actually got oxidative damage. They've been affected by the EMFs, where it's affected the structure of the cells. There's a lot of sort of rugged and ragged edges, which we would call poikilocytes. And this is indicative of oxidative stress in the blood. So the blood's been affected at cellular level, which I'll go on to talk about a little bit more. So I was really shocked by that. So I asked the client to go back on her phone, but this time to put the photonic card, the photonic square into the cover of the phone, just so it's next to the phone, and go back on her phone for 20 minutes. And we took her blood after 20 minutes. And then this was her blood at that point. Wow. So now you can see that the blood is no longer coagulated. The card has protected her body from these EMFs. And this is another picture.
Wow.
Wow.
So I was astounded by this. But this is, you know, the picture that we do get when people are in contact with EMFs. So the next test we did was with a router. And again, the client arrived after having an hour's room orientation phase. I was really strict about making sure, you know, that the test was completed in a really, you know, structured and standard way for all the test subjects across the board. And this was the test subject's blood. after the room orientation phase. Just calm blood, nothing to worry about. There's no attraction. The blood looks healthy, lovely red blood cells, and the blood's flowing. And then the client sat near the router, about 1.5 to 2 feet away, in a room for 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, I took his blood. And then you can see the same picture happened again. And potentially this is probably worse even in the iPhone, because you can see this, you know, severe erythrocyte aggregation, red blood cell clumping in a lot of areas across the sample. It's probably the worst part. So then I asked the client to go back in front of the router, but to have the photonic shield in his pocket. And again, after 20 minutes, we tested his blood, and boom.
Wow.
Completely protected from the EMF shield, the photonic shield. And of course, the client was really amazed by this as well. So the next test we did was with a smart pad. Same process, room orientation phase, and this was the client's blood. Excuse me, and as you can see, just healthy blood again. And then I asked the lady to go on her smart pad for 20 minutes, just to work on it. And this was her blood after 20 minutes, which is quite astounding. And with her blood, we saw the erythrocyte aggregation, but we also have what we call rouleau, which is the stacking together of the red blood cells. And this was her blood across the sample. And when we get blood like this, we can get headaches, brain fog. You know, it's not a good state for our blood to be in. So I asked her to go back on her iPad, but this time to put the photonic square in front of her iPad as she worked on it for 20 minutes. And again, we see that her blood went back to normal. In fact, her blood improved beyond baseline. And this was quite common as well with a lot of the tests that I've been doing, that their blood actually has an improvement in the, you know, in the flow, and just the less attraction with each of the red blood cells. The next test we did was with a smartwatch. And I think this is the most interesting test of all, because a lot of people wear these devices to either, you know, measure their steps, or they're wearing them in gym to monitor their heart rates. So they're wearing them for health reasons. And they don't realize that potentially this could be affecting their health at cellular level as well. So we take a blood sample, and this is the, after the room orientation phase, the healthy blood cells. And then I asked the test subject to go on her smartwatch for 20 minutes and just to interact with the smartwatch. And this was her blood after 20 minutes. Now, this was severely aggregated. Wow. And I think potentially because the smartwatch has very close contact with the skin, it's affecting the cells, because it takes 1 minute for a red blood cell to go around the body. And so where we're affected in one area, it's going to affect us in another area. So the effect of the EMF on her wrist will be affecting her whole body, not just in, you know, one particular area. So it's very, very pernicious. And when we're looking at red blood cells, we need them to be very pliable. A red blood cell is roughly 7 to 8 microns in diameter, and a small capillary is about 3 to 4. So they need to be very pliable to be able to get through, you know, one by one, to deliver their oxygen nutrients and take away waste products. So this will definitely be affecting their ability, you know, to deliver oxygen at a time when, you know, someone wearing a smartwatch would be exercising most of the time. So I asked the client to go back on her smartwatch, but this time to put the photonic shield in her pocket. And when we took her blood sample again, you can see that actually her blood improved beyond baseline, and all that erythrocyte aggregation had just dispersed.
Wow.
And
that's extraordinary to see that, the watch And I know so many kids and so many people who wear them, and of course it's bang on the skin, it's right on the body.
Not only that, it's also over a major vein and a major acupoint. And
I think because the blood just doesn't lie, seeing is believing. And you just can't deny what you're seeing, but a lot of people will not want to see it because it's hard to really accept that what you can't see may be affecting you at cellular level. But the thing is that even if we don't have a Wi-Fi in our home, our neighbour may have a Wi-Fi, and this will be coming into our home. And, you know, as we step out into the world, you know, out of our homes or away from our devices, we're going for a walk, we're walking down the street, there's cell towers which will be affecting us as well. If we're going into the supermarket, into shops, into businesses, everybody has Wi-Fi. And I think this is why it's so important to be having protection on you no matter where you go, because you simply just can't get away from it. And even now we know that these street lights, you know, are getting 5G ready, and I've tested them, and there's EMFs coming off the street lights as well. So while you're out walking your dog thinking I'm getting away from all of this, you aren't, you know, it's there around us. But,
and of course in the schools as well, Caroline, as well, and hospitals and everywhere.
Well, yes, because exactly, the mobile companies are paying hospitals to have their towers on top of, you know, their buildings. You know,
so it's just all so wrong. And oh God, the school thing, and then more and more schools are working with iPads and computers and routers and all of that, and then not to mention all the smart meters and everything. It's but this is what we're here to do. It's like people have got to wake up to this, and I see that you put down there the wireless satellites set to cover the Earth as well, Caroline.
Yeah, this, you know, there's a lot of talk about that as well, and you know, we're just going to be bombarded from every angle. So this is why it's just so important to look at technologies like photonic for, you know, everyday protection. And, you know, because they are dangerous, you know, they're pernicious, they're affecting us. And I think a lot of people, you know, which I'll come on to, they say, why are these so dangerous for us? It's because a lot of people don't realize that we are actually electrical beings. You know, our cells pulse with electricity. And we have an electrical biofield around us that goes out 6 feet. And before we had all these very high frequency EMFs, you know, our bodies would pulse at a frequency that was in harmony with the Earth. You've all heard of the Schumann frequency, you know, 7.8 gigahertz. And that's what our body is in harmony with, Earth and humans. It's been like that for millennia. And that's why if you go and stand bare feet on the ground, or you're on the sand in the ocean with all those negative ions coming at you as well, this is when we feel most grounded and, you know, in harmony with our own body. But we just don't realize how these EMFs potentially affect us. And we've all seen these images where, you know, putting the phone up to our ear heats up our heads, and especially if we're children, how damaging that can be even more because of the, you know, less bone density. But as I said, it takes 1 minute for a red blood cell to whiz around the body. So where it's affecting one area, it's going to be affecting the whole body. And a lot of people get a lot of symptoms, and maybe they don't realize that potentially the EMFs are affecting them, you know, from sleep problems to energy problems. People get ringing in the ears. That's a big one. And I think there's an uptick in that, especially amongst my clients. And I think people who are electromagnetic sensitive, you know, do get a lot more ringing in the ears. Another one will be immune system. There's plenty of clinical studies out there that show that the EMFs actually reduce our white blood cell count. So, you know, there's a lot to consider, and there's a lot of research as well. So people can go and just have a look at this research, find it. You have to probably find it a few pages down Google because it's not there for, you know, easily to find, but it is there. And when people have a lot of these symptoms, you know, they'll go to their doctor because, you know, they're feeling depressed, you know, they've got anxiety. That's a big one for EMFs as well. They just don't have energy anymore or what have you, and the doctors will probably prescribe them some medication for their symptoms. but they probably don't realize that it could be as simple as getting some EMF protection. Because with these photonic cards, even since I've been using them, I sleep so deeply and so well. I just, I feel in harmony wherever I go. When I take my dog out for a walk now, I just feel protected. I feel like I don't need to worry about, what's around me so much, because I've got this protection on me, because I get to see it. Lucky me, and now I'm getting to show it to people as well, so they can understand how these affect us. Yeah.
It's amazing, Caroline. I'm so grateful for that. And as always, all Caroline's contact details will be below the video, because one of the things, I've sent my blood in for Caroline to analyze, and it was really important for me because I need to know where I'm at and baseline myself, because there's no point us burying our heads in the sand pretending these things aren't affecting us, because they are. But knowledge is power, and there's such beautiful companies like Photonic that are out there really providing solutions for people. And Caroline, that is just brilliant work, and we're so grateful for doing this. And I want everyone to know that Caroline did that research project completely at her own cost, off her own back and everything. And you've done this with other products that you're passionate about, because as a therapist, your level of integrity is just absolutely amazing, that you really do go into this level of detail. So I'm very, very grateful to have you, Caroline. And you do, just before we get on to some of the product information, just to let people know that they can, if they're not close enough to come and see you for an appointment, they can send a dry blood analysis. They can get a kit for you from that, can't they, to see their baseline, so that you can help them through any solutions.
Yeah, so I do live blood analysis and dry blood analysis. So live blood analysis is more to do with cellular morphology, which we've seen today on the images I've shown you. Dry blood analysis is coagulation morphology. So it shows a similar picture to live blood analysis, but just in a slightly different way. Yeah, so we can pick up on a lot of things, especially oxidative stress, which is what we've been seeing today in the live blood analysis. You can still see that in dry blood analysis, amongst a lot of other things.
It's really important, isn't it, Kim? Because so many of us, this is why all three of us are so passionate about sharing these solutions. And of course, there's lots of other things that you can do to get out and ground yourself. We can't all necessarily move into the middle of the wilderness, even though we might be tempted at times. But personally, I see a lot of issues with people that have got smart meters in their house with their animals' health as well, because it affects them. And we see dramatic improvements when they get their smart meters removed. So this is real. And I think I really want people to see your presentation, because, as you say, the blood doesn't lie. And it's so difficult at the moment, particularly humans. We all know about the placebo effect. We all know about the nocebo effect. So knowing what's real and what's imaginary. But once you do know these challenges that we're all being faced with, we can do something about it. Yeah.
I mean, it is extraordinary. By the way, the name of that group in America, where I started to see all of those educational videos, is called the environmentaltrust.org. And I feel like they're doing fabulous work, and they have press kits, and they share, they're just about spreading the word about the science so that people can be better informed. And that's the starting point. And then when Caroline's putting out her work, she's also showing people. So I'm asking people to share this, far and wide, because people deserve to know. I mean, particularly those images of the brain.
Yeah, with the children.
It's horrifying. And actually, and seeing this again, your presentation again, I mean, it's extraordinary, the effect of those smartphones. And as you say, the irony of the fact that people are wearing them for their health and monitoring their health, and actually what it's doing, as indicated by the blood, is potentially creating problems. And the other thing that I was thinking as you were talking is, like, you're talking about 20 minutes.
Exactly.
And then I'm thinking, a day's use, and then a week, and then, I mean, what is this in a sense, the cumulative effect of this stuff, along with all the other stresses and strains? It's really horrific.
It is. I think a lot of people, on a daily, a lot of people always talk about brain fog. They can't think clearly. And I think this is really affecting people in that way, but they'll put it down to other things. So, yeah, it's...
Sorry, we're not talking over each other. There's a delay on the Zoom. I think also what's really scary, both of you, is the fact that a lot of people wear these watches at night to monitor their sleep as well. So there's no break. And obviously, a lot of people still have their Wi-Fi on at night, or it might not even be them. If you're living in populated areas, it can actually be, from your neighbors as well. So this isn't to scare people. The fact of the matter is that these technologies they can also save lives, being able to locate people when they're lost, etc. Being able to do education programs like this, we're reliant on this technology. But it is important that we protect ourselves, because so many things that people put down to the normal aging process, whether it's in animals or humans, are not part of the normal aging process. As humans, most of us living in the modern world now have forgotten. We don't know what it feels like to be healthy. And our children now, the generation of children are growing up. I was lucky enough to be old enough to grow up before we had mobile phones and before we had all this technology. And I'm very grateful for that. Yes, so there are advantages of being older. But our children now have not got this choice. And we can't take them out and sort of wrap them up in cotton wool and put them in the middle of the jungle somewhere. Well, if they were, they'd probably get eaten by something anyway. But you know what I mean? It's about accepting that these challenges are there, but educating ourselves and protecting ourselves. So we've got so much more we want to share. And I'm going to invite Caroline and Kim back again, because we don't want to go too long today, because these products you'll see on the website. So all the links will be below. And the amazing inventor of these products, Wesley, has also given my listeners a 10% off code for 3 weeks, because these products are expensive to produce. The research is amazing. We can go more into that in another day, but there's a lot of information on the website. But this is an example of the little square that I have got. We've all got on our phones here. And then we've got the cards. What I love about the cards is my son won't wear like the wearable EMF protections, the cards like Kim's got there, but he will happily carry one of those cards around with him. And then in the background there, for those of you that are looking to protect your office, your school, your therapy room, your home, they've got these amazing solar systems that protect the whole house. So there's lots of options over there. And I know that Wesley, the designer, is inventing more solutions, because we've also talked about ones for our pets. So please do have a look, because these will also structure water and help the quality of your food. Now, we haven't really, Caroline and Kim, got time to go into that in too much detail, but it's suffice to say that anything that's affecting our cells like this is affecting our food and water as well.
Yeah,
that's so true. By the way, Wes is I would say the curator rather than the inventor.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to clarify that. And it's his, because of his research and because of his connection to these scientists who've been working in the frequency field, doing amazing work for many, many years prior to this. Working with Wesley has brought these unique things to the market. So he's played a massive part in it, and all sorts of exciting things are coming down the line. But in what you just said is really important. It's the the work of, I think his name was Emoto, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dr. Emoto.
So it's
flask of glass here.
So there you are. So it does restructure water. And if anyone's scratching their head and going, well, how does it do that? And it's all about frequency.
Yeah.
And we've seen those amazing images. If you write hate on a bottle of water, and then take the picture of the water crystals, you can see the structure of the water is all jagged and unpleasant. And then it just to love. And then they're absolutely stunning images. And
Yeah.
You know, and the principle is the same here. And I loved what you said. And as you were speaking again, it's like there are children and young adults on this planet who've never known feeling any other way, so must presume that this is the human condition. But guess what? There's something else. There's walking barefoot on the earth. There's the connection to nature. There's coming back to the fire. There's all these other amazing things. And that's another passion. This is a big journey that we're all on together. And this is like a bridge and something to help until, you know, something much larger happens in terms of, you know, readjustment about how we live on the planet. So for me personally, I'm very grateful that I found Wesley and the company and have been working with them, because I want to get this story out to as many people as possible, for sure.
Absolutely. I just wanted to finish with one final test that I wanted to share with you, and I haven't shared this with you yet, Caroline. So I have got 2 of the cards that I've given to my children, because they're younger than me, they're more susceptible and they will carry them around everywhere. Then we all have got the little square on our phones, and I have an extra one that I'm bringing in here from my laptop. I've been doing an experiment with my animals, just with the square, actually, not the card, because the children have got my 2 cards. Now, what I was doing is I was preparing identical bowls of food, so identical of their raw food that I give them. And I was putting, I've got 5 cats. I'm lucky enough to have 5 cats. I was putting the card under one of the bowls, and then I was monitoring which bowl of food they went to first. And every single time they go to the bowl of the food with the card under it first. And it's identical what I'm putting in the different bowls and everything. I haven't got a video of that to show people yet, but I will get one. I never have, when I'm feeding everyone, I don't have enough pairs of hands. But animals pick up these resonances more than us humans, and anyone who's watching my channel is so aware of tuning back in with our intuition. And when you really balance yourself electrically, when you're doing it with your food, when you're doing it with water, then all these extra superhuman powers open up to you. So thank you both so much. Caroline, your level of research, we are so grateful for you. People, please connect in with Caroline. She has so many solutions in her kit here. She really does. She's the most amazing naturopath. And she can also do distance blood samples, which is what I did. I sent mine in, and I was really useful information for me to help me make the right choices for my health. So thank you so much. And Kim, thank you so much. Any final words from both of you?
Caroline, you go first.
Yeah, no, it's been wonderful to actually do this research. You know, it's been very eye-opening, and I'm just glad that, you know, there's a platform here that we can share this information out with people, so they can, you know, make up their own mind and make decisions based on this information that's coming out. Just very happy.
Yeah, and there is tremendous hope. And you know, every Tuesday for the last 2 years, we've been gathering people on a breathwork, what we call a ceremonial breathwork. But the simple thing about it is that we are still human. We are still connected in the heart. We are beings of love, and we can do something about this. And so, you know, anybody who's watching, who's shocked by the information that's been revealed, because it's true, not only are the solutions, I mean, extraordinarily wonderful things are happening on the planet. And, you know, they should have a lot of hope about what kind of a world can be created if we just become more aware and then act on it. So thank you for this. And by the way, your story about the animals, fantastic. I love it. Yeah.
Now, how can they connect in with your breathwork sessions, Kim?
Oh, look, well, maybe what I'll do is put that also in the link, and it's just a free space. We're there every week. It's normally around 150 people from literally all over the world, from Hawaii, Australia, Africa, America. And we breathe for about half an hour, we share, and, you know, it's a great space to come and remember our humanity, our common humanity, and to also get back into connection with this thing, this wonderful universal language, which is our breath. And it's another of my passions. And so anyway, we have all sorts of different tools to help people, and I'm really looking forward to sharing more with you. And it's lovely that we've all met and that we're doing this together. It's great.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Everyone's links will be below as always. You know how to reach me if you need any more information on everything. And, you know, knowledge is power. Let's all take our power back. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. My goal is to inspire as many people as I can to live their best lives, to stay curious, and to raise their consciousness and that of the collective. So to do this, I need to reach as many people as possible, and this needs your help. If you feel drawn, would you be willing to share your favourite episode with 5 different people? This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. If you feel drawn to do that, I will be very, very grateful. All the links and discount codes where applicable for all the products that I support are on my 2 websites, catherineedwards.life and catherineedwardsacademy.com. All of the products are personally tried and tested by me, my family, and my clients. And finally, please do press the follow or subscribe button, depending which platform you're listening on. And above all, stay curious and stay free.